Ladies, you may have heard that if you want something, you have to be bold and take it. Well, that great advice is easier said than done and rarely comes with an instruction manual. Until now. Joining us is the author of Be Bold Today, Leigh Burgess, to tell us how we can close that boldness gap and overcome those conditions that keep us from opportunities, wealth, and leadership. Thank you for joining us, Leigh.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's talk about the misconceptions of being bold. I know that there's this stigma that for a woman to be bold, it could be considered brazen, whereas a man, he would be considered brave.
Right. I think what's fascinating about just the word bold, it can get a bad rap, just like you said. But I think oftentimes we don't think of the cost of inaction. So when we're making bold moves or taking action, we're usually thinking of the risks that come with it or things that could go wrong. And I think a lot of the times, I think especially for women, I think it's harder to make the bold steps as well, because I think sometimes we think it's selfish or it's all about us and we're so attuned to taking care of others. So I just want to encourage women and men, but I think women need the extra boost every now and then to make the bold move, to choose themselves, to really put themselves out there and advocate for what they want. And I think the general sense of the book, I just want women to see the power of possibility.
In the power of possibilities, you talked about how there's these fears, and that could be from fears of, like you said, being selfish to fears of, well, what happens if I make these steps? So how can women reframe those fears so that it can work for them, not against them?
Yeah, I think fear is there to keep us safe. Ultimately, that's why it's there initially. But I think at times our fears can hold us back or slow us down from what we want or what we want to try or what we want to get curious about. I think the easiest way to put, fear to rest or lower our anxiety is to take action. And sometimes that's the hardest part, right? That first step. But I think that's where there's a myth of being bold, that it's always big and loud and has to be on social media. And I think that's where the smaller steps of being bold, it could be how we talk to ourselves. It could be getting curious about something or exploring it. It could be creating a plan or writing it down. There's so much power in writing it down and telling someone else about what you're thinking about that can help you overcome the fear, take the first step, and realize that it doesn't have to be something big and loud and post it on Instagram.
And you sure wrote it down. Reading through this, I felt called out when I was getting to the part of why women wait to feel 100% ready before they jump into something. Can you dive into that?
Right. I think we've all heard the facts about, applying for jobs, and men will apply for jobs if they have half of the skills, and women will be like, well, I don't have all of the skills, so I won't apply. There's another analogy from the perspective of waiting till they're ready or feeling enough. And I think I just want women to realize that they're already enough. They were born enough. Everyone is. And so I think it's just important for us when we're taking those first steps to really understand that we have agency in our own life, and that each bold step leads to more confidence, which leads to more agency. So feeling control over how we're living our life, and versus our life leading us, we want to lead our own life.
And Leigh, going through this book, you give us a lot of great information, but in a way where it's easy to apply it to your life with these helpful charts and diagrams and tips. So tell us, aside from getting your book, what is one small step that we can do to be bold today?
Yeah. So I think just start off with your I am statements. That's right at the beginning of the book too, as an exercise, but just take about, 2 to 4 minutes and just write as many I am statements that you can in that time period. And you might have some ones that aren't so hot, like that aren't positive. Go ahead and cross those out and reframe them in the other column. So just something that simple about how are you talking to yourself? Did you look in the mirror this morning and say something positive, or did you say something negative? So just even thinking today, how are you talking to yourself, and can you reframe it in a more positive way?
And where can we go to get Be Bold Today?
Anywhere you buy books. So definitely check out your local independent or Amazon or Target, wherever you go. And then also on our website, you can see more about the book, and also follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Well, thank you so much, Leigh, for telling us how we can be bold today.